Hi guys, today I will show you how you can make a 3D terrain for your games. No code, no add-ons, only Godot built-in features. So we will make a terrain in Blender and import it in Godot. And I will show you how you can make Godot cool it with Godot built-in feature so your chunks disappear. Let me show you how this terrain works in my game. So this is one of my scenes. Here I will let you see the FPS. So my FPS are limited to 60. So it cannot go beyond the 60. I will go in free flight mode. And as you can see, Godot self just cool terrain, and if you move away further from your chunks, it just disappears. It just Godot, no code, not anything. And you can make the grass instance with mesh 3D, multi-mesh instance 3D on your chunks. This is only Godot. Godot also cooled the grass, multi-mesh and everything. My terrain is low poly, but you can make it shade smooth, but everything you want. Let me first show you my scene of this terrain. So this is my scene of my whole terrain. My terrain have 12 chunks, and one chunk have 9 little chunks. And every chunk have a parent. Parent is here, he is invisible. Parent is this cube. We only want to use this cube because in Blender we will parent all chunks with this cube because we want to keep original origin point of this cube. So you can easy just put your terrain chunks in Godot and they will click on its place. And on parent I just put a material that makes it translucent. So zero code for this terrain and zero add-ons. I don't like to use add-ons in Godot, and because I do not know people who made that add-ons will they update it in future. And because I will use zero add-ons in my game, I was able to update my Godot for 4.4 to 4.5 in like zero problems, in like 5 minutes, and my game is pretty big. And because of that you need to understand when you are using add-ons, you think about it, is it paid? And we have a terrain 3D in Godot, it is good add-on, but I do not know how terrain 3D works, you know. And if something goes wrong, I do not know how to fix it. I do not want to take like months to, if I can, go through that code. Like terrain 3D makes me like hundreds files. I do not know what they are doing. And Godot have this built-in feature which works great. In performance, my terrain is 2 kilometers with 1 kilometer big. I do not feel any performance issues. Yeah, you see. It's so smooth. As you can see, so this is one of my chunks, one of my 12 chunks. This is a parent of this chunk, that cube. This is the parent, and it have 9 other small chunks. And every that chunk have multi-mesh on it, that we need that multi-mesh for the grass. And every chunk is cool here. LOD bias is 0.5, and this in every geometry node in Godot. You can cool it when you move away from it. So if my player is 450 meters away from these chunks, it will disappear. And then margin last 50 meters, it will make it like this, like translucent. So let me show you how you can do that from Blender to Godot. I will just in Blender make 2 chunks to show you this. So if you like this video and it will help you learn something, please subscribe, because this was a complicated video to make. So in the past I was trying to make some terrain chunk loader, and that was just over engineering, and I realized that and make this approach. So this is my approach and my take. Maybe there are better ways, but I did not find it without add-ons. So in bottom right corner you will have the keys of when I'm pressing something. Just use no. So this is Blender. We will delete everything. Hit 1. And now you can, in Blender, you can make terrain for your game whatever you want. You can sculpt it, you can import some other models, it do not matter. I will just show you the shortest and easier way. And in Blender I like to use add-on because Blender is powerhouse. And if I break, if some add-ons break my model, it do not matter. But if break my whole games, then I'm not alright with it. So if you have your terrain sculpt, you just skip this part. But I will use add-on called landscape that make chunks of landscape in like 1 second. If you do not have that add-on, you go in edit preferences, add-ons, find int landscape and install it. Now to use this add-on, we will just right click, we will just hold shift and hit A, and in mesh we will add landscape, and you see this will bring us landscape, and here you have millions of options to make different chunks. Find whatever you want for first. I will go, I don't know, I will go something like this, or I will go with this lake. I like this lake, and here you have hundreds different options that just mess with it. So first we have, I see we have here 2 planes. I will just delete this. This is water plane, and just leave it like this. In water you can add in Godot. So as you can see, this chunk of landscape is 2 meters long. So we will make another chunk. We will call here chunk 1. And now we will click Shift A and add another chunk. We will hide this first chunk. So now you find something that you like, but that goes with that goes well with your first chunk. You just need to look about edges to this corner edges to be flat. I will delete this water, and so I will call this second chunk. I will hide it, and now we have first chunk is 2 meters long. So in order to have a perfect match, second chunk is also 2 meters. So I will place second chunk at x4, at x2, pardon. And you can see now we have 2 chunks, because one chunk is 2 meters, next chunk is 2 meters, so x2 is perfect match. Now if you want more chunks. You hide this too. You add another. I do not care, find whatever you want. I will delete this water. And now, as you can see, this chunk is also 2 meters. So I can place it at y2. He will go here, or -2, or here, -2. And you can add 4 chunk, and 4 chunk it will be x2 y -2. Let me try it. It's the same, I do not care. It's 2 and -2. And this is the perfect match. We have 4 chunks. This is water, and I have, so you can add, I do not test it how big this terrain can be, but I can tell you that it can be pretty big. I do not have any performance issues. Or you can sculpt your terrain, one big sculpt, and then you can cut it in chunks. Chunks do not need to be same size. Only what they need to be, it's like well match, so you do not have any clipping. So now I will show you just in my game I have 12 these chunks, but to spare some time, to save some time, I will just show you with 2 chunks. So I will delete these 2. If you want to add another chunks, you add another landscape here, so it will be on x4, so this is on 2, next one will be on 4, next on 6, 8, and so on. So now we have our 2 chunks. So these chunks are only 2 meters. Now we want to make it bigger. We will select all chunks and join it, so Ctrl J, and now we will make it bigger. You can just hold on this scale Z and drag along, and now you can type 256. Now these 2 chunks are 1000 meters. It's too big. I will just hold on Z and 128. So these 2 chunks are 500 meters. That is good. Now we will go to edit mode and select everything with A, hit P, and by loose part. And now we will have 2 chunks. And one chunk is 256 meter, but 256 is like perfect. Now next important thing is to scale it. So select every chunk, Ctrl A, and scale. So now we have a 2 perfect chunk for your game, and it match perfect. Now listen carefully. This part is more important part. So you can see these 2 chunks have this same origin point. We want every chunk to have origin point for itself, because that is the most important information that we need. To just put these chunks in Godot and it will click on place. In Blender I do not know a way how you can transfer origin point easily, but this is my hack. So I will click on first chunk, go here on object, set origin to geometry, and now we have it here. And I will do the same for the second. You need to do this for every chunk. So now we have 2 origin points. Now listen carefully, this is the most important part. Now we need to cut these chunks in like 9 or 6. I will cut this on 6, I don't know, you can cut it on smaller. Because we need that smaller chunks in Godot to be able to mesh instant grass, multi-mesh instant grass on every. We do not want like grass on multi-mesh like millions multi-meshes on just one chunk, because Godot cool it by origin point. Let me just show you. So this is chunk 1, I will call it chunk 1. And now we will add just one cube. And I will place this cube, hit G, Z, and place it somewhere above your chunk. So this cube will be parent, and I will call it chunk 1 parent. Why do we need this parent? We need it to be able to get this origin point of this chunk. So I will click on this cube and hold shift and click on first chunk, and you can see this orange glow. So when I hit Ctrl J, this cube and this chunk will be 1. And now when I go to edit mode, hit A, P, by loose part, I will separate this cube and this chunk. But you see this cube now have the same origin point, and call it chunk 1 parent. So this is the most important thing. And now when I cut this chunk on smaller pieces, I will parent every piece to this cube in Blender. And when I move this cube, every chunk will move with that cube. So it will easy be for Godot to place it. And that small chunk will be cooled by Godot separate, and that small chunk will have multi-mesh for itself. And you need to do this for every chunk that you have. Let's do it for a second. I will add cube. Move its position of cube, it do not matter. It only matters that the origin point. So I will now select cube, select this chunk. Chunk is main because it's light orange. Hold Ctrl J, go in edit mode, hit A, P by loose part, and you see now this cube will be chunk 2 parent. And it will have the data that we need. The data is this origin point. And one thing to remember is that when you make your chunks, you place it in Blender where you want, and then you can make this parent. And when you make parent, do not move it again. Next, what we need to do is UV unwrap these 2 chunks. We will go in UV editing. Now in UV, I will go in object mode, select this chunk, go in edit mode, select all, hit U, and I will use just this first angle based. And now we have our UV. I will do the same for the second chunk. And now we have our UVs for our 2 chunks. Now I will add one material for each chunk. For this first, I will add new material and call it chunk 1. I will add just one green color. And I will add the second material for the second chunk. And now we have our two chunks UV unwrapped. If you have multiple chunks, you need to do this for every chunk. Now is the time when you want to paint your chunks. In Blender you can paint on multiple materials at the same time. It is slow, but you can do it. Now is the time for painting. I painted mine, or you can add some materials that you can download from you have material maker. That is great problem, and in material maker you can load from website like beautiful materials, and it's free materials. You can use it for your terrain. But I will this is not video for that. I will just use this color. Otherwise this video will last hours. I don't want that. It's too long. So before we start cutting our chunks, I will export these two chunks as GLTF, because I will use these two chunks in Godot for Godot to make one whole collision. Because if we cut all, you will get like 8 or 10 collisions for every chunks. So we will first export these chunks. Just select this chunk and export it as GLTF and save it. Call it chunk 1 and go selected object, and do the same for the second chunk. Selected object. I forgot to tell you, before UV unwrapping and making parents, for my game I had this, but I extrude just edges of and make some coastline, so you do not have just this straight line. So I just extrude every edge around it. And now real job begins. This is very, I warn you, this is very tedious work. And yes, I did this for every 12 of my chunks, and it took me a couple of days. But we need to separate, we need to cut this one chunk in, like, I cut mine in like 8 4x4 smaller chunks because we need to have a multi-mesh instance to target every small chunks for grass, and for Godot will be able to cool on and make disappear just smaller chunks, to not have disappear these big one chunks. So for my sake and my time, I will show you how I will cut this one chunks in like 6 small chunks, but I recommend you to cut it in like 8. So we will have, for this I will have like 6, and this 6 12 small chunks. I do not know any way how you can speed this, and this is where the real work begins. So I will show you my method to cutting. If somebody have better way to cut these chunks, maybe he can leave a comment on something. So first, what will we do? We will add a new mesh plane. Hit G, move it up, and this plane I will make the same size as this chunk. This chunk is 256, I will make it 256. And now we have the plane. Now I will go in X-ray mode, and I will hit 7, and I will just align this. I will just align this plane with my chunk. So like this. Now I will go in edit mode of this plane and I will loop cut. Control L. And now you scroll. So you need to do this like 3 cuts. I will, for my sake, my time just go in 6. So 1 cut, go on the size, do another loop cut. You just move your mouse like this and scroll. Sorry, I will do just 1 cut, but you want to do like this, like you have 9 like me in my game, but for my sake I will do just like this, and I will have 6 bigger chunks, but you want to go like 9 and you can go smaller. And now what we need to do, I will go in X-ray and I will go viewport shading, and I will select my chunk and go in edit mode. And when you hit 7, now you can barely see the lines where you need to cut. Your smaller chunks do not need to be the same size, so this is the line where I need to cut it. So I go like this. When you hit 7, I will cut it like this. So this will be 1 chunk. I will hit P and separate by selection. And here you will get a new chunk, smaller chunk. I recommend you to make some new collections, like collection chunk 1. And this is chunk 2, and put your chunks in that collection, and chunk 2 parent, so it do not confuse you too much. So I have 1 and I will go and cut the rest. I just hide this, so there is no faster way that I know to do this. And you see you need to cut every of your chunks in game like these smaller chunks. So I will just fast track the time. So what's the most important things? So you want to cut it to have the same vertices like this. And for second chunks you just move the plane, hit 7 and just move it. It do not have to be exactly the same. And now I have all my chunks cut out. So next thing what we will need to do, so this is important move, because Godot cool your object after origin point. So I will select all chunks and I will go to object, set origin to geometry. And now you see every chunk have their own origin, object of origin. So next thing what we need to do, now we will parent all are our chunks, small chunks with this parent. So this parent have this origin point that we need. I will select all chunks, and then I will select my parent cube, and you see it's light it's light orange. I will hit Control P, and I will parent to object, and you see all my small chunks now are parent of this cube. If I move the cube, everything moves, and I will do the same for the second chunk. Go to parent, Control P, to object, and now if I move my cube, my whole terrain moves with this cube. Now everything is ready to export our chunks. So this is the first chunk. I will select all this, and I will export it, and I will call it chunk 1 cutout. Include only selected object, and I will do the same for the second chunk. And now you just import that models or 4 models in Godot and see you in Godot. So now we are back in Godot. In Godot I made 3 scenes. One is terrain manager, second is chunk 1, and third is chunk 2, all node 3Ds. And I uploaded my 4 models and of terrain, and I save all the scenes. Now first what will I do? I will just drag my chunk 1 that is not cut in chunk 1 scene. So this is the chunk, and I will go make it local, delete this, and on this mesh I will click here on mesh, and I will create collision shape. Try mesh create. Now I have a collision. I will delete this mesh, and I will do the same for chunk 2. So this way we have a one big piece of collision mesh, and in that way we do not have like 6 or 8 or 9 smaller collisions. Next, what will I do? I will add a static body 3D, call it chunk 1, and drag your collision in that static body, and do the same for the second. And now we have our collision ready. So next thing that we need to do, we will now drag our model of cut chunk 1, and I will make it local, and you see here. Now here we have our parent with exact position of chunk 1, and we have our 6 smaller chunks. I will just make the same position of collision and chunk parent. You can just copy these numbers. sorry, somehow I replaced chunk 1 and chunk 2. I will just make it right. So I mistakenly replaced full chunk 1 with chunk 2. I just cut it and copy it, and now you see we have our collision with our mesh with the exact location of chunk 1. I will do the same for chunk 2. So in chunk 2 we just drag our cut chunk, make it local, and delete this. So I measured if you want just to use GLB format, because you think it's in some cases this format took less space, but I measured. If you make it local just for this chunk, and if you delete this, you don't need this format GLB, then you will have maybe less or exactly the same memory use space. So I will just make our static body same location as our parent. So this is 2. And now you can see we have our collision ready for our chunk 2, and we have all these smaller chunks. So we are ready for the next step. So now I will go back to Terrain Manager and just drag these two scenes, chunk 1 and chunk 2, to see if they fit. So we can say that these two chunks fits perfectly. I will just hide collision, and I will put my player to test it. Sorry, I forgot to place environment and sun light to the scene. So I will test it again. And as you can see now, we have a full working 3D terrain, no code. I will just enable free fly. And now we will tell Godot to cool all smaller chunks. So this is chunk 1. First, what we need to do, I will hide this parent. So this cube. I have pre-made parent material that is just translucent. And you see, and now here I will cast shadow, I will go off, so we don't have a shadow of this cube. And you see our parent is gone. I will do the same for the second chunk. And cast shadow off. You see this is my material of parent. Just albedo in color, you just make it A on 0. That is, and transparency you need to do alpha. That is everything for your materials of parent, and save that material. And you don't forget to save all scenes. So now in chunk 1 we will tell Godot to cool all chunks. I'll hit 7. So this is, if you hit F, you can zoom your location. So on this chunk I will go in geometry, cast shadows off, cool margin 0.5. No cool margin, LOD 0.5. And here in this visibility range, that is Godot built-in feature that is beautiful. Every geometry node, every mesh has it. So I will make it when my player is like 400 meters from this chunk, it will disappear. you see, and you can just leave it as that so it can disappear quickly, and you can descend margin so last, I don't know, 30 meter it will go translucent, maybe 15, and I will do the same for every small chunk. And on the fade mode we need to make it self, so it fades. So this is what I call game dev grinding. So imagine if you have 10 these chunks, you need to do this for every chunk. It's like a couple of days is grinding. Save scene, I will test it. We can test it in Godot. Here you see, and this is beautiful. You don't need some fancy chunk loading code or chunks for terrain. It takes time to make, but you can see the product of your work like everything. And I have zero code, remember, zero code. I will do the same for the second chunk. So basically you can do this for every single mesh in your game, and it's a beautiful way to optimize your game. You don't need complicated code. Now I will test my terrain. And as you can see, when I move away, it just disappears. You can make it smaller or bigger, so zero code, no terrain. Good and easy. I will say just one thing. For this terrain I have just 3 lines code in my game, so that you can watch in my video how to send player position for signal. So I connected that signal to this collision, so when player is away for collision it just disable collision. So I just have that 3-4 lines. You do not need to do that, but it's your thing. Now next thing we need to do, we will make multi-mesh instance for every chunk. So 6 multi-mesh instances for these smaller chunks, and we will instance grass on it. So I'm back to chunk 1, and in this small first chunk I will add multi-mesh instance 3D, and you see now this multi-mesh instance is the same origin point of this chunk, so it can be cooled the same as this chunk. This origin point is very important for cooling. I will go multi-mesh populated surface, target surface is parent, source mesh is my grass. So sorry, you first, I will just add this my grass, and I will go on multi. You need to make this grass. I have made it in Blender. That's the separate video. You can put whatever you want. So you just put your grass here, make it local, and we have our grass here. Now, or you can just edit children of it. I will go multi-mesh, populate surface, source mesh, this grass. I will go random scale, I don't know, 0.5, scale, amount 5000. You can, and now you can see we have our grass. Now I will do the same for grass that I do for every chunk. Cast shadows off, LOD bias 0.1, visibility range, and I will go 80, and I will go like 20 meters or 10. And now you see when I move away from grass, Godot just cool this grass. And I will just show you one more. Our child multi-mesh instance. So this is our multi-mesh, popular surface, source surface, our grass, random scale 0.5, amount 5. You can go bigger. Now geometry, cast shadows off, LOD 0.1, visibility 80, 10, self. And you see now when I go closer, grass appears, and when I go, grass disappears. I will do this, cut the video, do the same for every chunks, and then I will come back. Okay, now I'm done. I will test to see. And as you can see, now we have our terrain 3D made in Blender with our grass, no code. So this is my way that I like to make terrain, because I know how everything works. I do not have add-ons. I do not have any in my game things that I do not know how it works. So I can update Godot easily. I can update my game easily. I can change things easily. You can with these numbers of coding, you can just try what you like for your games. This distance and everything. Just take care of so every collision and chunk is the same position. So you do not move it, or just save that number, write it on some papers. So this is full 3D terrain with no code in Godot from Blender. And as you can see, I have zero impact on performance. I can make it maybe so you can see it bigger on LOD bias can be bigger. But I'm using low point terrain, so for me LOD it's 0.1, it's nice. But for this terrain you can go, I don't know, you can leave it on 1 on or 0.8, I don't know. So if this video helps you, please subscribe and like, and maybe leave comment how I can improve on this system of terrain, because Godot really need to make built-in terrain tools. But this is great solution, and it takes time. When you have I don't know, when you have 10 chunks, it takes time, but you need how everything in your game works. Now on this smaller chunk you can multi-mesh instance trees, bushes, what everything you want, flowers. So that's all. Thank you.